Hey guys, welcome back. We're back working on my 80 series Land Cruiser today. I'll do a quick walk around with you, kind of show you what we got going on. Alright, so if you haven't seen the previous videos on this, I think it's been sitting for a long period of time. It's been like 11 years since it had a oil filter, oil change. So I did that last time. Replaced the valve cover gasket because it was leaking profusely. And it's kind of as far as I got. Interior needs quite a bit of work. It is triple locked. That's kind of why I'm making it into my next overland rig. But it's going to be long-term build, so we got to get this thing back in shape first. It's got a really bad exhaust leak. The coolant system needs to be gone through. I don't know if any of the diff locks work, so I got to go through those. But today I'm just going to work on the cooling system. So I don't know if this comes up on, shows up on camera, but this is getting pretty brown. This radiator is getting pretty brown. And typically when that happens, the plastic gets brittle and it can actually burst. So that radiator needs to be replaced. All these vacuum hoses are super brittle. They've been breaking as I've had to take them off. So I'm going to replace all the vacuum hoses, all the radiator hoses, radiator, water pump, thermostat, and all the accessory belts here. So we got a whole pile of parts over here. So I just went with the Denso radiator. Here's all my vacuum hoses. I went with all silicone coolant hoses. It's supposed to be good for higher temps and last longer, so it should be the last time I've got to do those. We got a water pump and a thermostat, and then some header gaskets for the exhaust, belts, and then the hood props, because right now the hood is propped up with a board. So I think I'll change those out first. Alright. There it is. It's the little things. The hood that stays up by itself. Exciting. Alright. So we'll get this up on the lift, start draining the antifreeze, and then start pulling this radiator out. Kind of show you the underneath of this thing quick. These things are built like tanks, solid axles, fully box frames. But I think I got a new leak here. Something's dripping. I'm assuming it's a brake line, but I'm not 100% sure. Oh yeah, brake line split right there. I don't know if that shows up. So one more thing to add to the list. Otherwise, this thing's in really good shape underneath for being from the Midwest. So no major rust, bunch of surface rust all over the place, not a big deal from what I'm used to. Only bad thing is the hitch is shot, really rusted out, but not a big deal. I plan on putting a different bumper on here anyways, probably do an off-road bumper, the tire carrier. So I think I'm going to put 35s on this eventually, a long way down the road, probably about a year away. Anyways, let's get this radiator drained. Concrete looks pretty nasty too. Not a surprise. Alright, while that continues to drain, I'll see if I can get this cooling fan off here. Get that out of the way so I can get the radiator out. Should just be those 4 nuts right there. Stick a pry bar down here, see if I can get these loose. Holy buckets. Alright, see if I can get this fan off without popping a hole in the radiator. Not that it matters, I'm going to replace the radiator anyways. This radiator shroud's broken here. Looks like it's been glued together before. A couple spots there and there. I really don't want to break it any more than it already is, so take it kind of easy getting this thing out. Alright, as you can see, the shroud's coming off in pieces. I don't know if I'm going to fix this or see if I can find a replacement. It'd be nice to have it all in one piece. Alright, so it's on the wrong path a little bit here. I've got to get those 2 nuts off down there in that bracket, and I've got to get to the back side of this, get that off. So I'll have to pull the grill off, and then same thing on this side, I think. So here's a new one. Here's the top of the radiator. There's 1 bolt here, and then a couple nuts that go on here on each side, and then of course the transmission lines. There we go. So this gives us a lot of access to the water pump and thermostat housing. Alright, so it's a new day. We're going to start off by pulling the thermostat housing off and the water pump. I also have all new hoses. Like I mentioned that I went with silicone hoses from HPS. I also got all the heater hoses. I'm trying to keep the rear heat option in this. A lot of people bypass it, but I'll replace all those. Those won't be today, those will be for later. I forgot to order the main heater control valve back there. And I don't know if it shows up, but it is plastic and it's starting to get brown just like everything else. So it's probably getting brittle. They do break after a while. And this is not just a Toyota thing, this is any car that's got plastic in the coolant system. I've had BMWs break, I've had Nissans break. It's just, after they get to be over 10 years old, the plastic gets brittle, just how it is. So anyway, we'll get this heater core, we'll get this thermostat housing off and kind of go from there. This actually broke free pretty easy. So there's the housing. The old hose. Some of these hoses don't look too bad, but obviously I'm going to replace them anyways. The inside of the hoses look pretty nasty. I don't know if it'll even show up. I probably should have flushed this system. I actually bought a flush kit for it, but I never got around to it. So it looks kind of crappy inside there. But we'll get everything put back together and we'll run some fresh antifreeze for a while and then change it out again in a few thousand miles. Alright. Thermostat itself. Looks like they might add some sealer in there or something. It's looking pretty nasty. I always thought this little air valve thing had to go on the bottom, but maybe it's supposed to go on the top. I'll have to check that out. And I did go with ASIN for both the thermostat and the water pump. This is a Toyota brand, basically. You can see these things are all frayed, looking pretty rough. Alright, so those are loose. Get this water pump off here quick. This thing should pop right off. Feels okay yet. Might not be that old, I don't know. It says Toyota on it, so it's a Toyota part, I think. ASIN, yeah. Housing looks good. A little dirty. Here's a new one, also a Toyota ASIN part. All right. All right, so I got the new radiator in, new hoses on. I went with all silicone hoses. I'm missing one of the belts. I thought I ordered all three, but for some reason I can't find the last new one. So this is where I'm going to kind of stop until I can get that last belt. Not terribly interesting work right now. I've got a couple more pretty boring projects. I've got to replace all the vacuum hoses and then do the full heater system. I forgot to order the heater control valve, so I got to get that. And I've got all the hoses for all of that stuff. And I need to do the pesky heater hose. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.